Okay, welcome fellow digital artists of, well, the Digital Art 1 universe. We are here to tell you about the tips and tricks we learned for our GIF animations that we will pass on to you guys. This is the down button. Yes, it's what a GIF is, or a GIF. That depends on who you are.
It is spelled GIF.
It's an animated image made of strategic images that shorten in length. Just the most simple version of video editing or video making.
The process of making a GIF is kind of long and kind of complicated, but once you do it a few times, you get the hang of it. First, you need to, well, you don't need to, but it's better if you do, make a storyboard. You can do this on paper or in whatever paint program you're using. You use this as a reference to properly plan out your GIF and add notes to describe each panel as needed.
Keep your background and object that you wish to move separate so to keep them from interfering with each other.
And another way to animate your creature or your landscape is to draw your creature above your landscape as a separate layer instead of using your composite image, as you will see in the next slide.
After you create one panel, save the image as a PNG and go on to create the second panel, and once the second is created, save it as a separate PNG and label it as the second. Repeat this process until you have all your panels done and until you see it finished.
And put each PNG image to a new Photoshop file as a separate layer. This will allow you to create the timeline.
Pretty much a lot of layers, very important.
To open up your timeline, go in Photoshop, go to Window, or click on the window and select Create. So we create frame animation. This will create timeline.
Go to the panel on the top right of the window and select Make Frames from Layers. This will create frames from all the layers that you have.
The controls from here are simple and straightforward, allowing anyone to easily remove a frame, loop the animation, or allow more seconds per frame. So if you're doing this as we followed with each frame, there's a number below it that has the seconds per frame. You can change that to 0.01 or above. And there's a little trash can icon that you can delete, and the loop animation, once only, etc.
Save your work as a PSD to ensure that you do not lose any of your progress. When you're done with your animation and want to save, go to File, Export, Save for Web. This will bring up a new window where you can select presets, quality, other things. Select the required presets for your animation and save when you are done.
And these are the animations we did last year when we were in
One. We were in your position once.
Yeah.
And we showed that there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Like for mine that I did last year, I drew my creature instead of using the puppet warp and the warp tool to show that you can do it different ways.
Yeah. And I just dragged mine across the screen in like below and above some layers to make it look like it was inside of the actual background itself.
I just kept the background at a totally separate layer and messed with a lot of the opacity and warp and puppet warp tools, but in every frame of movement, I always had an extra layer saved. I duplicated that layer just in case, because warp can be either your bestest friend or your worst enemy.
Probably worse than me.
Or your frenemy.
You got a friend in me.
And obviously we had more than 9 panels throughout the entire animations that we had. Those were just our storyboards that we had made to turn in.
Those were mainly keyframes. that you want to put on the storyboard.
Yeah, for each more major movement.
Some tips. Try not to use too many slides to make the GIF, as it would result in a slow or laggy animation. And as you can see in one of them, was yours, Caroline?
Mine.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Well, someone pressed the button.
I'll show him.
Oh yeah. For like
But
stuff
to me,
like
it also-
that bends like arm or joints. If you're making your creature, you might want to make a duplicate of, say, that particular elbow or arm that's connected to a joint, so you can use that to make it look like a movement. And, like you have one arm connected to the whole body in one layer. Then you duplicate that arm into another layer, just that arm. Then it'll give you one extra arm to warp and move around as your creature moves. For the shadows, opacity button is your best friend. So make sure to have that shadow on a separate layer between your creature layer and your background layer. Just sandwiched in between. Try to get it in the background with the, or go back and let me show you.
Oops.
Spoilers.
Yeah, so I tried to not let the shadows, and right there, I made it skip in places where the background was far off. Make sure it matches the environment. And what else was there?
Okay.
Save every now and then, about 5-10 minutes apart, because with GIFs are big when when you're making the timeline, because you have so many layers and images that it can crash whatever program you're using sometimes. That's
Just be patient with it, because animating can be very frustrating no matter which way you do it. Whether you draw it or you are using warp tools and everything. So try not to get too frustrated with it.
and then I made this because why not?
Extra
Yeah, this is
animation.
yeah. It's a loop.
You could be doing
animation.
this someday.
Oh, if you had the laser pointer, I could do it right now. Which one's the down button? Oh, there. And yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, that will do it. I'll take care of it. Thank you, guys.